Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning. Let me just get this going here for us. What's up? So, make a couple of adjustments here so we're all good to go. How's it going? Today we've got a live build, and tomorrow a live build as well, which is also going to be pretty cool, and I think you guys are going to want to check that out. As for the live build today, some of you may be wondering how I got this kit so early. Well, the fact is, I'm going to pull a bit of a switcheroo on you guys. In fact, I don't have the new HGUC kit. What we're going to be building today is actually the old Psycho Gundam Mark II. So sorry if you're disappointed. But anyway, it is going to be the Psycho Gundam Mark II in 1/300 scale. This is the old kit, not the new kit. So apologies for that. But yeah, some of you may have seen about a month or so ago, I posted online wondering if anybody had this kit, because I was looking around for one and I couldn't find one for like the cheapest I could find for like $35. Not horrible, but then plus like $20 shipping, like from Japan. This kit has an MSRP of 600 yen, so it's like $4. It's like $4 or $5 should be like the MSRP cost of it if it were to be reprinted. Unfortunately, it hasn't been reprinted in a while, which is why it's kind of hard to find. But someone did reach out to me. They had one and they were able to hook me up for a very reasonable price. So that's good. All right. Anyway, so I've got all the parts. Not in the box. I've got everything all clipped out and everything. A couple of interesting things to point out to you guys. Number one, I don't know why this has 3 of this kind of little like proof of purchase thing that you get in these kind of old kits. I think that's basically what this is. Anyway, we've got this in here, which looks like a sticker sheet because it's on like that greenish kind of paper, but this is actually water slide decals, interestingly enough. So it does have water slide decals for the markings. The other interesting thing that this has is glue. This little teeny tiny little thing of super glue, which I'm sure is ages old. I don't know when exactly this reprint is from. If this is an original one from 1986, I think was the release year for this, or if this is like a later reissue, I'm not sure. But anyway, the glue looks old. Anyway, not going to use that. We got our polycaps here. I am going to use those, and the instructions. I guess I'm going to need that. Take that out of there. But I've got all the parts already cut out and somewhat prepared. Now I've just kind of gently removed the gates on these parts. And so what I want to do today, because I actually have something in mind, sort of custom, interesting idea that I want to do with this. Not necessarily like doing it all up crazy with a ton of customization, everything like that. What I want to do with this is fairly simple, but for the purposes of this live stream build, I just kind of want to go through just kind of the basic construction of this. Probably going to have to glue some of the parts, but if I can avoid it, I don't want to glue too much of it just yet. But we'll see kind of how it goes. I don't know. So I don't know exactly what all to expect in terms of how much work I want to do on this kit right now at the moment for this live stream build of this. Anyway, we'll see. I got some files on deck, or if we need that. Got the glue on deck, or I'm sure we're going to need that. And let's go. So, good morning, guys. The construction, if you guys, excuse me, I've never built these old kits, can be kind of in terms of like it's not laid out super clearly. Like we're very blessed with, I mean, like even in the 90s it was a lot better, but like now the Bandai makes the instruction manuals like incredibly foolproof. There's no way that you could mess them up even if you tried. With these old ones, I mean, it's not like you could mess it up, but they're very like jumbled, just kind of all disjointed. Like this first section here, you just kind of have all these random bits that you're putting together, and it's like the field parts and like parts for the backpack, and then it moves on to parts for the arms, but not the hands. We'll do that later. And then parts for the legs, and then putting the legs together, putting the torso together, then putting the hands and a couple more bits on. So I mean, like, follows like the general flow, but it does look a little bit messy compared to what we're used to these days. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. The joint is pretty solid too. What are you guys on? Oh, talking about the HG Atlas. Yeah, the HG Atlas is cool. I really hope that someday Bandai will do a master grade of that kit. Not necessarily because I love the design, because I'm not super into the Atlas design, but it would be so much nicer as a master grade. It's a design that is like somewhat complicated, and it works fine as an HP, but definitely would benefit from like a proper master grade. So yeah, live build's going to be a little bit different today. Probably going to be a little bit kind of slower pace than usual too, just because I'm going to be like wanting to sand some of these parts and also like file parts, glue parts and stuff, doing all this kind of along the way. So it'll be a little bit different. But yeah, like I said, I am planning another live build tomorrow as well, which this should also be a pretty interesting kit that you guys might be interested in checking out. So make sure you tune in tomorrow as well if you can. I think it's going to be, I'm not exactly sure what time of the day, probably in the afternoon, I guess, or tomorrow. Today I wanted to do it in the morning. At least it's morning time here for me. It might be a different time of the day for you, but in the morning time here for me, get this out of the way. And then I got some, I actually want to work on my old to gold Saku Canon project after this. I'm actually working on a couple of old kits here today. These parts right here I'm just kind of sanding down is parts for this kind of the kind of backpack sections here. I could go ahead and glue these first before I'm sitting here sanding. So one of the things about putting these old kits together, and this is something that actually, I don't know if I want to say like I learned from doing machining career kits, or just kind of like a helpful tip for you guys maybe for putting together these old kits or kind of machining career type kits or something. A lot of times what I'll do is like if I'm going through the steps like for these parts here, if there's parts that need to be glued and then also need to have like seam lines removed, I'll do that first, glue, so that those parts have like the glue has some curing time. Well, then I'm working on some other little bits and things, so I'll just like glue what needs to be glued first, so that those parts have some time to cure for a while. All right, so that means we need this one and this one here to start, and a couple of poly caps. You got early. No, I did not get this kit early. I actually got this kit very late, as this kit originally came out in 1986. So let's see, that puts it at nearly 40 years old, 38 years old. Pretty incredible. But yeah, if you guys took part in the Old to Gold contest recently, then oh, that's interesting. So these poly caps are not necessarily held in there by much. If you take a look at this, I might zoom in the construction a little bit here for you. So you have to put these poly caps here in this piece. They're going to be sandwiched. And I'm looking at this piece thinking like, oh, on this one, there's nowhere where the poly caps fit in. How do they fit into here? It's basically this flat piece with a couple little pegs, and they're basically just held in between parts here like that, and then this fits inside into here. And so I don't think that I need to sand this part quite yet, but just in case, I'm going to and be careful if parts are stuck to my hand there. When it comes to sanding parts, like if it's on a kit like this that I know I'm planning to paint, I always kind of err on the side of caution. If I'm not sure if I really need to sand a part or not, I usually just kind of opt for, all right, I'll just sand it a little bit anyway, just in case. And it's just a like 800 grit sanding stick, so it's not anything like too strong. And then also, this part is actually, the part that goes into here is actually going to like fit in to this, so there's not going to actually be like a seam line. It's actually going to fit inside of there. this one just goes here. Let's put the polycaps back in. So the polycaps are basically just kind of like resting in place until they're locked in by putting these two parts together here. Try it. Yep, that didn't work. I tried to get this together without really being able to see the alignment of everything. There we go. And definitely going to want some glue on that. So it doesn't need to be glued. There's no seam line, but this, I can tell this part's not really held in by anything. So definitely going to want to get some glue on here. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll drop some here, some here. Yeah, kind of interesting part there. Probably going to want to have some glue on that. Maybe a little bit more even. We'll have to sand that back down some more later. But basically, just repeat that process here for the other side now as well. Glue this, and then we'll kind of get back to a couple other pieces there. What are these early live streams? Oh, sorry, Chris. I don't know. Sometimes I like the afternoon live streams, but like when it comes to live streaming, like during working hours in the day, I've found it's kind of a mix, because whether I stream in the morning or the afternoon, either way, it's like working and or school hours for most people in the US. So whatever I do, it's going to be kind of like not ideal time for US viewers. Like typically like in the evening or night would be a better time to stream for viewers in the US. But yeah, considering that I just can't stream at that time, then instead, yeah, between the morning or the afternoon, it's basically just kind of going to be a lot of international people watching from different countries. And I found it's just kind of similar at either the afternoon or evening time as to the amount of people who are able to tune in, depending on what time of the day it is where they're at. Greetings from the Philippines. Hello, thank you, KD. And Digital Fanboy also, hey there, what brand sanding stick do you use? So I really love the Wave sanding sticks, the soft type sanding sticks. They're my absolute favorite because they're kind of good, really good, like multi-purpose, as in you can use, they're like hard enough to not make your hard edges rounded, and soft enough not to make your rounded edges flat. So they work pretty well. There's those couple of parts there for the backpack. Also got these bits here, which are going to need to be glued here as well. Well, pretty much everything needs to be glued, but these parts, but let's see. We're gonna need a couple more poly caps. And with this kit, I mean, like having some articulation and also being able to transform, I guess that's the reason for the poly caps. But like on these old kits, like for how limited they are, I mean, poly caps almost seem just kind of very non-essential, all things considered. So let's see. So it's gonna go in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in there. Just kind of getting a sense of how these parts are gonna go there together, so I can see what I might want to sand or file or glue ahead of time. So like, for example, this part needs to fit inside there. And so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do some filing on this guy. It's a pretty nasty mold line on this one that I want to file away first. I'm not really sure, again, with this one, I don't know how much of this part is really going to ultimately end up showing, but just to be safe, I'll rather go ahead and get rid of this mold line on here. Now, the reason why I'm using a file instead of a sanding stick on this is because it's a pretty thick mold line. It's not one of those like really little baby ones. Just a file is going to make much quicker work of getting rid of the mold line, and then I can go in with a sanding stick, just kind of smooth it out. The file is going to be a little bit rough. but it's just much faster. And especially on these flat surfaces like this, it's real easy to just knock out that mold line real quick with the file and then go and sand it just to smooth it down a little bit more again. On these parts, there is also a hollow bit, which if you were really taking the time, you could go ahead and like fill in that hollow section right there. I'm not too worried about that for my purposes. I'm not going to, but something that, again, I'm not sure exactly how much of this part, I don't even know like what this part necessarily is, like a part of the backpack, I think. How much of it's really going to show or not, how worthwhile it would be to take the time to fill in that gap or not. When it comes to stuff like that, I mean, sometimes you see some modelers put a lot of effort into stuff like that that's ultimately kind of like be almost completely invisible. I'm a little bit more what's the word? Prudent? No, that's not it. What's the word? The other synonym for cheap with my time. Yes. I'm not that willing to give up that much of my time for something that's gonna hardly show. And if it's something that's gonna show, I mean, like I'll do it if it needs to be done. But for like something like this, like I said, for what I have planned for this project, it's just very unnecessary. So I'm not gonna waste time filling in that gap there. Practical? No, that's not it. Frugal. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you, John. Yep. Yes, I'm frugal with my time for projects like this. This is just something kind of fun that I wanted to do, just kind of in preparation for the obviously the HD kit of this, which is coming out in a couple months, December, I think, right? Or end of November, something like that. Also, I did want to let you guys know, if you're in the US, here at USA Gundam Store, our monthly sticker for this month is actually really awesome artwork here. I wanted to show this to you guys. Done by Evan Palmer. You guys may follow him on, if you don't, you should follow him on TikTok I don't know if he has TikTok, actually, Twitter and Instagram. These days, he was doing a bunch of Dragon Ball art, although I haven't seen that lately. I don't know if he stopped doing the Dragon Ball art or not. Let me see. But he did a whole bunch of, let's see, Gundam artwork with Evan Palmer on Twitter. And is he not doing the Dragon Ball art anymore? No, I guess not. It's been a little bit. But anyway, he is going to be doing so we have these monthly stickers here at USA Gundam Store. Every month it's like a different sticker that rotates that you just get free whenever you order. So for this month, with the HGUC kit on the way, we got this cool artwork there, Chibi Psycho Gundam Mark II there from Evan. So very cool for that. Noburo said, shout out to Shannon, who always packs my stuff. I could actually shout out to her and she would hear me. She's not too far away, just on the other side of the door, right out there. But I will let her know. Noburo, Shannon is awesome. Great at what she does out there. Packing up orders day in and day out, packing up your guys' stuff. One of our packers here. Has been here for a while too. Actually been here longer than I've been here physically. I'm not sure if she was an employee when I first started to do this full time. But since I've moved here, she's been here, yeah. All right, got those parts sanded down. There's also these other little bits that go on there as well. Now, I don't want to like check the instructions. Where do these parts actually fit in with the design? So I think these actually, what do these ultimately do? Okay, so these are parts, yeah. So you can see what this is right now that I'm working on this section. It's these parts here on the back that when it transforms, that part that's red right there, this part like lifts up out of the back. When it's not transformed, you can see right here. That part's closed up, that red bit there on the top. When it transforms, those will lift up like that. Now, for what I am planning on doing with this kit, I'm glad I checked that, because that means that the inside area of this part inside here will actually show. Now you can see there's that mold line there. I sanded the mold line on the outside, but actually I left the mold line on the middle, on the inside, thinking that it wasn't going to show. But now I'm glad I checked that illustration, and now I know that it is going to show. I'm going to go ahead and sand this mold line here as well real quick. What's the end time when building this Gundam? So, I mean, I guess assuming that you're asking, Zeki, if you're asking about like how long would it take to build a kit like this, it really just kind of depends on what you want to do with it. I mean, you could just clip the parts off the runners really quickly, you know, assemble the kit, and it would take you, you know, I don't know. You might be able to do it in as fast as 20 minutes. Or you could, you know, spend a year working on a kit like this, you know, customizing it and doing all that, and, you know, make much more of a project out of it. Now, for me, I'm planning on just cleaning it up. Yeah, pretty much just cleaning it up enough so that it looks okay. And just kind of doing a painted build of it. Now, it is going to be somewhat more interesting than that, and I'll explain that at a different time, what my plan is, because I want to get the kit built first. I'm not exactly sure how well my idea is going to work or not. I need to have the kit built first to kind of see exactly how I want to go about it. But essentially what I thought would be fun to do with this is to turn the kit into something practical. And what I mean by that is making it in. So here's what I'm thinking. So here, basically, I'll tell you my idea. I don't know if it's going to work yet or not. But my idea is to basically make it into the transformed, like, mobile fortress mode. I think that's what it's called. Like, it's not mobile armor, mobile fortress, or whatever. Anyway, have it transformed, and then basically it's going to only be like this big, and then basically glue it all together so it's just all fixed like that, and then basically saw it in half so that it's able to like open up like a little like jewelry box or something kind of thing, basically. And then like I had to cut out the inside so it's hollow on the inside, so on the outside when it's closed it'll look like just the little transformed Gundam, but it'll actually be like a little storage box. I don't know what I want to put in it. A jewelry box actually may be a good idea. Maybe make it into a little jewelry box, a little present for my wife or something like that. Could be kind of cool. She's not into Gundam at all, but you know, it's something I made. But anyway, that's my idea with this, is just to make it into something practical, as in like something that you can actually use. A little box I thought would be kind of interesting. So that's the plan for this. So that's why I don't necessarily need to or want to do like a ton of customization or anything like that. Just basically make it built, and then from there just like a simple paint job on it once it's cut in half. I think it should be interesting. Thank you, Frankie, for the super chat there. He said, hi, good morning. One question, your store is located in Daytona, Florida. Yeah, so it's not necessarily my store. I'm not an owner of the store. But yeah, USA Gundam Store is located like the store and warehouse and my office. Everything's all here. Yes, we're in Daytona Beach, Florida. Right, yeah, so if you're going to be in the area, actually this Saturday, 2 days from now, thank you for the reminder. 2 days from now is actually the next build day here. And if you're going to be in the area visiting, or if you live in the area, or even if you live a little bit further out and you're willing to drive, you can come for build day this Saturday. I will be here, maybe not for the full day. I might come a little bit, it's a little tiny pair I'm trying to say. I may come a little bit late and leave a little bit early because I do have some other stuff going on. But I am planning on being there for at least part of the day on Saturday. So if you guys are coming through, say what's up. I'm not sure what I might try to build at the time. I should actually prepare that. What I might end up doing is actually not building anything, but just maybe I might just like cut out the parts. I have a couple of kits that I have unboxed, and I just need to cut out all the parts and everything just to get them ready. So Have you reviewed the display reciprocating tool? No, I have not. Is that just basically like an electric sander kind of thing you're talking about? Not sure what that is. I have an electric sander that I've had for ages. I did a review on that when I got that years ago. An electric sander and what was that? Not a drill. What's the tool called? English is hard sometimes. Can't think of the name of the tool. But yeah, and I can't even think of the name of the company offhand. But I have those tools. I rarely ever use them. So yeah, the sander in particular, I very rarely use. Dremel is the word I was thinking of. Dremel. Yeah, it's like a Dremel type tool. Dremel drill kind of tool. That one I use sometimes on the occasion. It's particularly useful for custom builds. Sometimes if you need to like hollow out a part, it might be actually useful on this one later on. And or doing weathering, like physical weathering, like damaging. How convenient is an electric sander? Yeah, Zeki, in my experience, like I just was saying, I don't really use it really ever. I don't particularly think they're really that useful. It depends on what you're doing, I guess. I mean, for me, essentially not useful at all. But if you were doing something else, I mean, I could see other circumstances where other people might find it more useful, but I don't. So anyway, there's those two little parts that I just spent that time cleaning up. Then we've got these parts that those parts actually fit into. Now there is going to be a seam on these parts, so I want to sand these a little bit here. So I want to glue everything that I can for now. But like I said, I may not like permanently glue everything if it's like a moving part, because I do still want to, like, before actually moving on with like the custom build idea with this, one thing that I want to do is be able to show the kit in the video. So I did I already recorded like an unboxing portion of this video, and we'll also have in that video, I just want to show just like the kit just like out of the box, just glued together with like very minimal work done on it. And then, then the video will also include the kind of custom work. So I don't want to glue anything right now that will inhibit me being able to just show off the kit like directly out of the box. So just a little bit more sanding on these parts before we glue anything here. Some parts, this is another thing just to keep in mind while you're working on kits like this. Some parts it might be easier to sand before gluing anything in place, so just something to keep in mind. These parts here. Is this the new HG? So Andrew, no, this is not the new HG. This is definitely the old non-grade what was it, 300 scale, 1350 scale, something like that, 1330, what is it? 300, yeah. MGG self is a myth. It's never real. Yeah, hopefully, like I was just saying a moment ago with the Atlas Gundam. The Atlas Gundam, I think, would make, it's a difficult design to make in HG. The G self less so. But same thing with that one, though. I feel like it would be much nicer as an MG, and I guess you could say the same thing with anything. But I mean, the G self, the HG is okay. It's very sticker heavy, especially on the head, and that's something that could be a lot nicer on a master grade. So actually, the same thing with like the Atlas Gundam as well. It's just like that's like one of the main problems with the HG is that just how sticker heavy it is. Thank you, Frankie, for the super chat there again. So did you guys have the PG Tall Geese Not from Bandai and also the Sky Defender? I might go next Saturday and grab one of those. I would have to double check. the monument is the one you're talking about, which is the one that's like the tall geese. That I'm pretty sure we do have. Well, actually, no, I take that back. We got, yeah, I take that back. I don't think that we have any that are available right now. We got a bunch in for like the first batch. Those are all sold, though, I believe. We are going to be getting more in the second batch, but that's not coming until maybe next month or something. There are still pre-order slots available for the second batch. Again, I believe, as far as I can remember. But I don't think that we have any. If you were coming like this month and wanting to buy one here in store, I don't think that we have any available. As for the Sky Defender, I really have no idea. I mean, I could check just on the website real quick and just see if it shows it's in stock. Sky Defender. No, it shows sold out for that too, and I don't think that we have any in the storefront. It'll show like sold out on the website, but we might have like one or two like in the store there in that case, but I don't think that we do. So one thing that you could do would be to maybe just call in and check ahead of time. You know, that's something that you can always do before coming in. Okay. Before I glue these parts, just double checking everything here. The tricky thing is that these parts need to be glued, the purple parts, but this part on the inside here shouldn't be glued because it needs to be able to slide in and out there like that. So you have to be a little bit cautious with the gluing, not to get the glue where you don't want it to be. Also just kind of checking the fit, make sure that when I go to press these parts together that I'm going to get a good clean fit with those. With these older kits, it's always a bit of a question mark. And let's see. I think it also doesn't particularly matter. I can't see the instructions here. Yeah, okay. Let's see. So that's that side. All right, so I think this is right. It shows the left and the right side are different, but they seem to be the same. When are you reviewing the Plamax Strike Dog? Not right away. I do have that in the queue. I don't have it even unboxed yet, so it's probably going to be a little bit on that one. But I am really looking forward to building that kit, so I mean, maybe soon, but not yet. One thing, I glued these parts, and I was saying that this part here should not get glue on it because it needs to be able to slide. One thing that you can do to kind of make sure that you don't get glue, or just that this part doesn't ultimately end up getting stuck, is while you're pressing this, because you need to press it close for like a few seconds or something. While you're doing that, just make sure you keep moving this part. Make sure even if it does get a little bit of glue on it, it's not going to have enough glue on it that it's going to be like permanently fixed in there. So just keep moving that a little bit to make sure that that doesn't get stuck where you don't want it to be. But that should be pretty good for that. Okay. Let's go ahead and glue the other one here. I like it when you do a short video showing a model you already review. What do you mean? this one. It has pegs, so like these parts look like it would just be like a snap fit. There's pegs on there, but the parts actually not, like the pegs are not actually useful. Like the connection's not good enough to actually just be able to snap it. So you definitely need to glue these parts here. Just kind of making sure that I have plenty of glue everywhere where I think I'm gonna need that. It's a pretty good fit. So definitely gonna need to, I mean, once this glue is cured and everything, definitely gonna need to obviously sand that and everything. And there's probably a couple of panel lines on here and little bits that are gonna need to be cleaned up. Like if you look at this right here, you can see there's this panel line right there that's probably going to need to be rescribed out a little bit. And then also this edge here, this detail in this little vent area where there's a couple little thruster belt parts that fit inside there. It's just like stuck on the glue there. Anyway, those are going to fit inside there. I'm going to leave them out for the moment. You can see these edges don't line up. This one's like a little bit higher than the other one. So like that's just something else that just can be sanded down to even out that later on once the glue is all done doing its thing. So still going to be some cleanup required for that. All right. One more part here to glue. This part here on the backpack, this kind of center section. This part definitely going to have a nice seam line on that. We do have another poly cap here as well. Are you cementing the seams? Yes, that's one of the things I'm doing here. Is it necessary to cement this HG? So this is not the HG. This is the old 1/300 scale. So yeah, there is absolutely going to be glue required for this one. With the HGUC kit, once that's out, you're definitely not going to need glue for that. No. Any modern kit, you're not gonna need glue. This is just a almost 40-year-old kit. So it's definitely a glue required. This one as well, it does have a couple of little pegs on there, making it look like you might be able to snap fit this. But you're definitely going to need some glue, as the pegs are really small and not even like a tight fit. So the pegs on this kit, and like for older kits like this, you guys may find if you've ever built one, the pegs are kind of not there so much to hold the kit together like a modern kit. They're more there just as like a fit guide, just to make sure that you can have the parts lined up properly. That's pretty much all that those are there for. Hang on, guys. I'm getting a call, which I'm not sure is important or not. Yep, definitely was not important. All right. Okay. Should be good. Actually might cut down that poly cap a little bit, because if you look at this is why, just start gluing everything straight off the bat. You can see we have these two halves here that fit together. Again, like that there, and the connection looks pretty good here until you get to the end. There's like a gap there, so if I went to glue that right now, I think we'd have a hard time getting that gap to stay closed. I think that's because of the poly cap here, which you can see actually sticks up a little bit. So actually what I can do is just cut that poly cap down a little bit, because it doesn't need, you don't need the full thickness of that for it to do its job, to be able to just hold the piece in place. Just cut off a thin layer of that, and that should be all that we need. Make sure this is a better fit. And see, then that's gonna be able to stay closed much easier. Obviously, once there's glue on it, it's gonna stay closed, but if there's a gap, it just means I have to go in and fill the gap in more later. It's much easier if there's just not any gap from the start. It makes our lives that much easier. Then basically after the glue's dry, it's just a matter of sanding away the glue, and then you're good to go. There's no other gaps to fill. So that's what we want, ideally. We can do, I've talked about this in many a video, but when it comes to gluing seams like this, what you can do is put glue on each part and then put the parts together. What I like to do is just put the parts together, leaving a small like little hairline gap between the parts, and just put the glue in like that. I just find it easier to do, just because this glue, because of the solvent in it, does tend to dry pretty quickly. So yeah, Kingyo, this is not the HG. It is the 1/300 scale model kit from 1986. Yep. So the new HG, yes, is not released yet. So this is just something I wanted to do for fun in the meantime. So that's all of our parts for step 1, basically. The backpack. I just want to sand these little thruster bells here for the backpack part. I'm not going to put on yet, but I'm just going to sand them here now real quick so they're ready to go for later. We'll move on to the next section of the build, which is going to be the arms. The backpack is probably, well, just those parts that we just put together. One of the more complex parts of the kit, I think. If you can imagine that, anyway. Yeah, those, I'm just gonna stick everything back into here for right now. At least he doesn't build the rubbish old granddaddy kit. Well, I'm not sure which rubbish old granddaddy kit you're talking about, because I'm sure there's more than one that would fit that description. But that may be on another day. I actually don't own any like old kit of the R782. I guess there's that new version, which is like the new old style version. What's Bandai even calling it? I don't even remember. But that's I think just recently been released there in Japan, right? I don't have mine yet. Anyway, of that. Of the R782, like the kind of retro 80s style one. So that one, yeah, I will. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a live build of that necessarily. Maybe, like just for fun, but I don't have it yet. I just, where'd that little piece go? Didn't hear it hit the floor. I think it's here on me somewhere. If it did fall on the floor somewhere, it's a tiny little piece, so I probably wouldn't hear it if it did. Oh no, where'd it go? In the chair? No? Like in my pants or something? Uh-oh. Oh, it didn't even get to me. It's still on the table. That's good. I thought for sure it flew off the table and onto my lap. These teeny little pieces here. Actually, probably would be a good opportunity to swap these thruster bells for like better looking thruster bells, one that's like kind of more detailed. But like I said, I want to keep this project very simple. Just stick to all the original parts, not doing like a bunch of customizing or anything like that on it. Embrace the retro design. All right, that's it for that part. Let's move on. The Granddaddy Revival. Yeah, is that what it's called? That's what Bandai's calling it, right? Granddaddy Revival. So we've got parts here. Some of these are definitely going to need some glue. This is for the arm. Fortunately, this shoulder armor can be glued. Not on the kit. We're actually going to glue this shoulder armor together first, and then it just kind of fits on top of the different part later on. So it looks like our parts here for the torso. And go together like that, and then it's gonna be kind of complicated without these parts being glued. Just kind of hold them together to show you guys. But you can see there's like a little tab there on the top of the side of the torso there, and like kind of this shoulder armor is just gonna fit down onto the top of that kind of thing. So kind of cool. All right, but we'll cross that bridge later. We do have this part which needs to fit inside of here, so let's get to gluing here. This is the hand. So the hand is just made up of two parts, and actually I don't think the hand is ultimately going to be used if you have it transformed into mobile armor mode or whatever. So probably actually not going to need this at all. But right now, you can go ahead and glue it together. So again, it's like what I was talking about. There is little pegs on here, but it doesn't actually hold it together at all. It's just to act as a guide so you can line everything up properly. Let's see. Kind of missed the old Doc Aurelius who were wearing glasses. He didn't wear them anymore. I've got good news for you. Here I am. I've got my glasses here without any lenses in them anymore, but I can put them on just for a nostalgia's sake if you guys want. Just as fashion lenses here. We can do that. This part a little bit. I want some more glue over here on this side of the hand. And even though I was just saying like those pegs work to line up the parts for you, even with that, the alignment can be slightly off, so you do kind of have to wiggle it a little bit once you get the glue on there, kind of try to shift it into place and just kind of make sure everything, like all the corners, everything's all lined up. That looks pretty good. Happy with that. Let's do the shoulder armor here next. Everybody misses the glasses, huh? Yeah. Not me. I was actually, I was at first, my wife wanted to get eye surgery, and she was like, "Oh, let's both do it." I was like, I'm all right. It's just kind of, I just didn't really see the point in it so much for myself, and I thought it was kind of a waste. Not really all that worthwhile. I didn't mind wearing glasses, but no, I'm definitely really glad that I did. Yeah, I've told this story before, but yeah, especially when it comes to like playing with the kids, like swimming or going to the beach, whatever. And especially here in Florida, you need to wear sunglasses a lot. So you have like prescription sunglasses, and you have to like swap between them all the time to be able to see properly. It is kind of more of a pain if I did have to wear glasses all the time. So I am definitely glad that I made the decision to go ahead and get the eye surgery. For playing with the kids, when I did wear glasses and I'd be playing with my kids, they'd be bumping my glasses all the time, and like, it's not fun. So, anyway. Zether, hello. Harold said I picked up the MG narrative yesterday, and once I have the Gal Workshop Oracle done, I'll probably start it and may do the Tyranids in between those for a change. All right, yep, there you go. The MG Narrative Gundam, really cool, a lot of fun, really nice kit. There's a bit there, which you can see right there, that little circle bit right there. It's actually the kind of mark from the injector pin. Fortunately, it's on the bottom side of the part, so I'm not going to worry about that. But it's another thing too, like if you really wanted to take the time to, do like a super nice build of this kit, you'd probably want to fill that in with some putty. This part is going to be sandwiched on the inside of the parts here for the shoulder, so I'm just taking a minute to sand it up good and well first before it's locked into place and it's kind of harder to get at. That's that. Hey, Withery Saw over on Twitch. How have you been? I've been good, thank you. Just got the HG Death Scythe. Actually, recently, a friend of the channel donated a couple of old HG Endless Waltz kits. Not the Death Scythe. What is it? Oh yeah, actually the Death Scythe Hell Custom, the Wing Zero Custom, and the Toggies 3. A couple of classic HG Endless Waltz kits were donated, so I will actually be reviewing those in the near future. Might maybe do like a live build of those as well, just because I think it's kind of interesting to do live builds of the older kits. Obviously, this is a much older, much more extreme example. Those are not that old, still just like from the 90s, but something a little bit different from the usual. Might be kind of interesting for you guys. Been building the motor nuclear stuff. All right. Yeah, it's always good to change it up a little bit. Let's see. I'm wondering if this flap here on the side of the shoulder if I need to cut down the pegs a little bit. Also, let's see how we're fitting. Looks pretty good. I think that'll be okay. I think we're all good. All right. Now let's go ahead and get some glue on this guy. Again, whilst doing our best to be careful not to get glue on the flat part, because that does need to be able to move, at least for now. We can glue it in place later. While I may be frugal when it comes to time for modifications, I'm certainly not frugal when it comes with applying glue for seam lines. Again, just the better your seam removal is from the start, the less work you have to do later on, filling up little gaps and things like that, little imperfections. If you have to go in with super glue or putty or anything to try to go back and fill something in that didn't get a good solid seal from the start. So that looks pretty good. Happy with that. Just finished the Gundam Requiem Vengeance. Oh, is that on Netflix now? I may watch that maybe this weekend or something. Let's see. This part, let me take a look at the completed photos. I'm not sure if this part's going to really show. I don't think so. Yeah, and it looks like the hands definitely aren't going to be used for the mobile armor mode, but that's fine. That is something that I may end up modifying just because I am planning on displaying this ultimately in the mobile armor mode. Yeah, this part's really not going to show. There's kind of no point in doing this, but I want to clean it up a little bit. What I might do in the place where the hands fit into, it's just basically like a empty detail with like a little poly cap inside there. I may just put a little cap piece on the top of that. So I may end up doing like a little bit of customization on this slightly. Polycap A, and actually we're gonna need 3 polycap A's for the arm here. Interesting. 1 in the upper arm and 2 in the lower arm. Alright, this first one goes up here. Be up inside that one. So let's go ahead. File these, extend these parts down a little bit here. Gonna need to glue this as well. Everything will be glued in the build of the Psycho Gundam Mark II. I think I saw several Arcanadia kit bootleg floating online. So yeah, I think I've seen a bootleg of the Arcanadia Lumatia kit. Although, I mean, for how good Kotobukiya's like product quality is, I wouldn't trust it. I mean, like, Kotobukiya kits can be expensive, but their product quality is so good. I mean, bootleg would certainly save you some money, but I just don't think that it would be worth it, to be honest. Go with the original. Alright, let's see. And I think that part is gonna be here. Like that. Now this part for the upper arm, you could get away with maybe not doing this because it's kind of a more mechanical section that, number 1, is not going to show that much. And number 2 is going to be like kind of, if there's like a line down the middle of this kind of inner detail, it's not really going to be very visible. So not super pertinent, but I'm going to go ahead and glue this anyway. So the good thing is, at least for my purposes for now, is that eventually everything I'm going to just glue in place and everything's just going to be all fixed permanently. But at least if you wanted to be able to make this as like a model that you can like pose and everything, everything that needs to be glued is not a moving part. So you mean you have to glue basically every single section, but then there's moving parts in between that's still going to be like a fully like articulated and posable model once you have all like the joints, all the sections of the build glued together. Like that's our part here for the upper arm. And then here for the lower arm is going to be like its own section that needs to be glued here as well. All right. What's this? Requiem of Vengeance, right? Just released. We'll be watching it. Apple asked. Yeah. So I suppose. So how many episodes is it? I'm gonna try to. Yeah. When it comes to watching anime, is just a matter of time for me, but assuming that I can make some time to watch it, especially if it's only a couple of episodes, then should definitely be able to handle that. Again, with this, before I glue these together, just kind of any detail that's going to be kind of harder to reach later on, just gonna sand ahead of time here. Once these parts are glued together. Also saw a RG Nighthawk, a bootleg copy of the Zeon. Not sure if I've seen that, but yeah. I can't blame you. I wouldn't be too interested in that either. you know what we didn't do? And that first part of the construction also covered the construction of the shield parts, which I didn't do. I'll go back to that here in just a moment. So you can see for when it's transformed into mobile armor mode, you're going to omit the hand and basically just have this detail here like this sticking out the back. So I may just glue a little piece on there just to cover that up. So like square detail piece, cat piece or something. Just so it's not this ugly poly cap there. Pretty good. So essentially, I can just kind of roughly put this together here for you guys just to show you how this is going to look. Our arm here will look like that. The shoulder will fit over the front of this. Actually, I think I have the wrong hand. It's actually the left side shoulder when I have the right side hand, but you guys get the idea. It's going to fit over that. Something like that. Let's go ahead and put these shield parts together we skipped over before. All right. Prefer the subtle designs of Bandai's Nightingale. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, like when it comes to like not like the bootleg kits, but like the kits, like for example, that are certainly inspired by other designs. Like for example, the Sky Defender being, you know, similar in design to like the High New Gundam, and the Monument being similar to the Tall Geese, for example. I mean, some people might prefer the like much larger and much more detailed kind of design. I agree that in some cases, you know, oh, actually, what was a perfect example of this would actually be the Supernova kits. So like the Supernova releases of like the Gundams from Endless Waltz. A lot of people like those. Personally, I didn't like the designs. I much preferred Bandai's designs. Although the Supernova kits were like had a lot more detail and everything, but yeah, I think there was a lot to be said for just the nice designs of the original Gundams that were represented in Bandai's 8 Master Grades. Now, unfortunately, they were premium Bandai, so I understand why there was a lot of people who, you know, couldn't get their hands on that, and so that was another reason why they were opting to go for the Supernova kits. But you know, just speaking on just the designs, I definitely preferred Bandai's MGs over the Supernova designs. Too much detail and weird shape on the Supernova. Yeah, for me too. I didn't like it, but it's just a personal preference. Yeah, the HGC Nightingale is awesome. I definitely like it so much more than the RE. Nightingale's not a design I particularly love, like in any form. It's a little bit too much, but definitely prefer the HG. HG is nice. The RE is huge, and that's basically the extent of like the pros for the RE. It's a massive kit. If you wanted to build something really big, it's definitely a standout kit. But otherwise, I mean, for me, it's not really too much else going for that. So this is like the shield connection part here. And I don't think that I'm ultimately gonna end up needing to use at all. My purposes, but put this together here. Like with everything else, it does need to be glued. So do that here real quick. That. And the shield parts here, interestingly printed on the back inside part of the shield parts here. Got the Bandai 1986 made in Japan. The other one here is just kind of the Bandai the Sunrise Sunrise, Japan, and that's agency, something agency. I don't know exactly. That's so big with Sosetsu. I don't know. Agency, and then Japan. Sunrise is like the copyright. Copyright stuff. Sotsu, that's what it is. Thank you. What's Sosetsu? I don't know. Anyway, Sotsu, yeah, right. Okay, these parts. Let's see. I'm not sure if these necessarily need to be glued, or if they should actually should not be glued. These ones just kind of fit into here like this. And if we actually look at the instruction manual, actually a little bit here with a little exclamation point. And I think it's saying to not use glue. Yeah. Something, I can't even hardly read that. Something, tsukanai, don't use glue here, I think it is. There's the kanji here for that, and there's little furigana above it, but it's so like the print quality is not good enough that you like can't even read it there. It's like setsu something. What even is that? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, not going to glue those parts, apparently, because I think they can be used like differently on different parts, right? Where are those used? For the transformation? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. Because for the transformation, then we actually kind of like turn these around, and then they go like this, the opposite way, like that. Like how they'll fit together when it's transformed. So okay, so we don't need to glue those. We do need to like sand these a bunch. Might as well do that while we're here. So once again, we got mold lines going all around. I'm gonna try to knock this mold line out just with a file here real quick. Then we'll go in and sand. All right. Seems like the kind of kit I should paint. Yeah. I mean, like it's molded in 2 different shades of purple, basically. That's pretty much it. So yeah, it is going to be missing some colors, although we do have the water slide decals included, which is pretty cool. For just like the little color bits, the little color accents in red and yellow around on the design, little like kind of like striping bits. So you got those. Just to show you, I showed this earlier, but in case you guys missed it at the beginning of the stream, these are actually water slide decals you have included with this, so it's kind of nice. This here, there's like a little panel line. I guess one thing that I might do with this as well later on is just try to carefully re-scribe out some of the panel lines a little bit on this, just because they're small and shallow and not really too prominent. There's not really too many of them. There's like a couple of panel lines here and there, just to make them a little bit easier to see. I can maybe demonstrate that here for you guys on this piece in just a moment. Do one of them right now. And actually, it might be easier not even using a scribe scribing tool, but it's just like a pointed scribing tool here. Might be just as easy. So on second thought, I don't know. I may opt for using a better scribing tool. We'll see. Or not a better one. Not that there's anything wrong with using this one, but using like an actual scriber. Like a 0.15 or something like that. We'll see how this looks. I think this will work pretty good. I take that back. I think it'll be okay. Just need to be able to get a little bit better definition for these lines here. Let's see. Sand that down. That's going to make it pop out real fast there, just because you're going to get all the white dust filling in the panel line. You can then take the toothbrush, brush that out. And it's going to look better like that than that one, I think. Yeah, anyway. Uh-oh. Battery's exhausted. All right, swap that out real quick. Wow. Can you show the sticker sheet again real quick? Yes, I will. It's actually just water slide decals. There's no stickers included at all with this kit. It's just water slide decals. But yes, I can. Here you go. I'll zoom it out here in just a moment, but yeah. Anyway, you can see. So it's just going to be for the red and yellow accent bits for this. There you go. 300 scale Psycho Gundam Mark II. So just going to sand these bits a little bit more here real quick. The whole plastic is gloss metallic. No, not for this kit, unless you're talking about a different kit. Maybe I missed part of the conversation. But if you're talking about this kit, no, the whole kit is not anything gloss or metallic or anything like that. Nothing other than just kind of regular old plastic. Yes. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying before too, again, in case you guys may have missed it, that tomorrow afternoon, planning on doing another live build with, again, an older kit, not quite this old, and not Gundam, but I don't want to spoil the surprise yet, but we'll be live building another older kit that hopefully you guys should find pretty interesting. That'll be tomorrow afternoon. Let's see, just make sure my rescribing of the lines here is looking good. Gonna get Space Battleship Yamato. Nope. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I will tell you it's not that. Are you gonna review Word Bearer Zaku? Oh, the Netflix Zaku. I'm not sure on that one actually. Not totally decided yet. But actually, I don't recall at the moment if I did pre-order one anyway. So obviously, whether I'm going to be reviewing it or not, I can get one later. If I don't even have one pre-ordered, I definitely am not going to be doing it right away. Although I think I did pre-order the Zaku and the Gundam, even though they're not designs that I really like. But I will just, for out of curiosity, and also just because I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are going to want to see the kits reviewed. They're also interested, but they want to see a review first before pulling the trigger, getting the kits. So I will do my review. You guys can make up your own mind, but yeah, I'm not too into the designs of them. Kind of hard to see. All right, I can't unsee the Solaris. Sorry, I didn't know that. Didn't realize I was still super zoomed in. Anyway, can't unsee the Solaris Zaku as a Chaos Space Marines Zaku. Yeah, I think I have seen other people point out the fact that it does kind of look a bit like a Space Marine. Yeah, they're interesting designs. I don't know. Is there any Motoroid kit you would like to recommend for beginners? I'm planning to get a Motoroid Rayer. Well, when it comes to the Motoroid kits, it's not so much that like there's certain ones that are better for beginners or not. I mean, they're all going to be pretty similar. So what I would say, and what's the good thing about the Motoroid kits is that they're great if there's a specific design that you like for example, I take it you're just a Rayer fan, and that's why you want to get that kit. So yeah, there's not really any other model kits of that. So if you're a Rayer fan, then it's a really good opportunity for you to be able to get a model kit of that. Or like, for example, what's the other one? The Line Barrels kit. The Line Barrel kit that I recently reviewed. So Kotobukiya does make a Line Barrel kit in which they actually just announced that they are going to be reissuing. So before it was kind of hard to find, but because they're going to be reissuing the kit, it is going to be harder to find. But maybe you prefer like one of the designs over the other. I actually think like the Motoroid version of the Line Barrel kit actually looks a lot nicer than Kotobukiya's. Just because Kotobukiya's came out years and years ago. It's older. But yeah, so the Motoroid line is great to just be able to get kits of different mecha that's just otherwise not really available as model kits in any other way. So yeah, if you're a fan of if you're a fan of Ray Earth and want to get a model kit of it, then I would say, yeah, go for the Motoroid kit. Lays, you're late to the party. Yeah, but I haven't actually missed all that much, because definitely, as I said before, which you were coming in late now, you wouldn't have heard me say this before, but it's definitely going to be a much slower build process with this one because of the nature of the kit. So we got a nasty mold line here on the side of this part, which is going to be a pain. My best to get rid of this here. Still got to get that Motoroid Maddox. Yeah, that's a cool one as well. I like that kit a lot. Good sec. Just straight build of the kit. Of course, a bit of fix here and there. Yeah. So just that's my plans for this. Yes. Just obviously, there's a lot of seam line removal is going to be the brunt of the bulk of the work with a kit like this. But yeah, I'm not planning on doing too much other like further modification or anything like that. No, with this, like I said, I may add like a couple little parts just to make it look a little bit better. But not planning on doing too much other than that. Oh, and also, is there any MOOC or magazine that have tutorials on garage kits and resin kit? Yeah, there's loads. And there's even magazines like monthly magazines that are dedicated strictly to that. Now, I'm not sure if there's ones that are still around. There's one that I have one issue of. I can't think of the name of it offhand. But I don't know if it's still around. It was like strictly dedicated to garage kits and stuff. Someone in the chat might know too. If you guys know, Zach will be a Captain Xeon suit actor in the UC timeline. Maybe. I don't know. What's the name? Oh, that's bothering me now. I'm trying to think of the name of what that magazine was for garage kits. I can't think of it now. Shoot. Yeah, if you just search like Zacharilius, like on YouTube, just Zacharilius garage kit or like resin garage kit MOOC review, you can see probably a review video that I did on one of the issues of that MOOC. Just can't think of the name of it. I'm trying to think of it, but I'm not sure. EX Volume 1, there's that. I think it's a different one too. I don't think. Oh, Replicant, I think, was the name of it. Yeah, I think you can find that. Let's see. I don't think that it's still around, as far as I know. Yeah, and I don't think it's even a monthly thing. I think it was like a quarterly or biannually or something like that magazine that came out. You might be able to find some old issues of it, though. I mean, if you look around on eBay or something like that, maybe. Replicant, yeah, I do have one of those, and I think I did a review on it at one point, but you should be able to find some cool stuff there with that one. Other than that, I think there is another one too. But I have an interest in garage kits, and I have a bunch of them. I don't really work on them that much. It's not something that I really spend too much time on as much as I would like to. It's something I would like to dive into more deeper. I just can't find the time. This part as well. I think I'm going to want to rescribe out the kind of lines on this part of the shield here as well, but I'll do that later on. Even the other half of the shield here. I'm going to go ahead and move on from this for right now. Alright, so yeah, that's enough of the shield for right now. Let's, oops. Let's do the torso next, shall we? Because this is just a couple of parts, but I don't think that we need to sandwich anything in between necessarily. Oh, but we do have these parts, which are like the front skirt parts. Okay, well, those will fit onto there. These are gonna be sandwiched here, like this, on like the top of the torso right there. Interesting. Fold up like that when it's transformed. Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's see here. Oh, what was that question there? Where do you get your hobby magazines and MOOCs from? So, I mean, you just have to get them from usually anywhere in Japan. So, I mean, whatever website you use, and there's a number of different websites, you know, anything that you can use to get stuff directly from Japan. The best bet is because they're just not easy for any store here. I would love if we were able to carry more stuff like that here, like in the USA Gundam Store. But I guess it's something that has been looked into before, and just basically, you know, just as you might expect, the shipping cost for those is what makes it kind of difficult, because especially if you're buying a lot of them, and books are heavy and would cost so much to ship, that then we have to end up charging like so much for them that it would just be not really worthwhile. Doing some ASMR for real. Yeah, I'm just kind of working along here on this. Lots of standing to do, as you might imagine. Got the on-air sign there for once.
At that, and I was like, oh, my bad.
What's up? All right. This is one part here. We've got these injector pin holes right there on the bottom side of this part. Now, I would normally not mind that too much because it's on the bottom side of this part, but when it's transformed, those parts are folded up and you will see the underside of the... Yeah, so I am probably going to want to fill those in. Actually, unfortunately, not too deep, but yeah, gonna have to get some putty on those, I think. Unfortunately, it's gonna take a little bit longer, but not too big a deal. All right. This isn't the new Psycho Gundam, right? No, it is not. I think I told to tell. Obviously, the new HGUC not going to be just like two halves of a torso put together. It's going to be, I would expect, a little bit nicer than that. So yeah, this is the old 1986 1/300 scale here that we're working on today, just for fun. And so, yeah, like I was saying before, just in case anybody's coming in later and missed this, so I will have a kind of a normal video on this kit. Somewhat normal. I'm going to be showing like the unboxing, and then I want to show it just kind of just built up, unpainted. Then I do have an idea for this to do like kind of a somewhat custom painted build of this kit. You guys will see some more on that later, but for right now I'm basically just worried about just kind of gluing everything that needs to be glued, and then there'll be some more work to then go back and just kind of clean everything up. But for right now, yeah, we're just gluing everything, doing the kind of basic construction. Yep. These parts, just sanding these really good for right now because they're going to be locked into place between our two halves of the torso here. And like the skirt parts here we actually did earlier, those are going to be then here on the front, but those for the transformation I think move to like this position here. So that's why we've got the two poly caps here on the back side of that part inside there. That was like the first part that we did way back when, at hour and a half ago, at the start of the stream. Right now, we can glue our two halves of the torso together. before we glue, just kind of roughing up the surfaces a little bit here. File and sand those a little bit so we get some nice adhesion for the seam. It's going to be a big wraparound seam all the way around the torso, but I think not much of it really needs to be like not much is really ultimately going to be that visible. Probably most notably on like the side skirt parts. So we'll pay extra attention there. How's the plastic quality? Light. The plastic quality is light. All right, let's glue this. Have that on one side, that on the other. Actually, after this, I think we may be go ahead and move on to the head, just for fun. We'll skip the second arm and both legs for right now. Actually, hold that thought. I see something else that I'm going to want to sand it. Actually, I'm not going to glue this part at all yet because I want to put some putty on that. It's going to be really hard to glue. It's going to be really hard to sand on the putty later once this is connected. So I'm going to opt for going ahead with the putty right now. And so that means we won't be able to see the full build of this quite yet. All right, so putty, we've got somewhere here. Here we go, just some basic type. Should work well. I'm just going to use a toothpick to apply some of this. We're not going to need a whole lot, just enough to fill in that little bit right there. And here as well, so, yeah, a little bit more. That. Is there any weird looking MG gunplay you'd recommend besides the Ball Verka? Weird looking Gundam MG besides the ball. I'm not sure. Can't think of any offhand. Would be a good. The GNX, yeah, that's a good one. The gun cannon or gun tank, yeah. Turn X, yes, yeah. If you can find it, that's the problem with that kit. Those are all good suggestions. And the Turn A Gundam, Zigok, yeah. The O, if you can find that's another really hard to find one. But the Turn A's should be pretty easy enough to find. Should be able to get your hands on that without too much issue. These aside for right now. That's all we can do with that at the moment. XS, yeah, I mean it's not. It's certainly a little bit different from your standard Gundam. I think there's some good suggestions there. Perfect. Xiang. Yeah, Xiang will be good. Actually, that's a good recommendation as well. What scale is this? This is a 1/300 scale. Like that. So, I mean, when it's all put together, it's actually probably going to be similar in size to like a 1/44 scale Gundam, but just because the Psycho Gundam Part 2 here is obviously that much larger, it's going to be similar in size to an HD, but it's 1/300 scale. The part, it's like the crotch part, the legs are connected into that fits up underneath the skirt. That, again, I'm not sure. Probably not going to actually show all that much. But it's a mold line that kind of wraps around the sides of this part here. I just want to try to get rid of. I can, so I'm gonna muscle it out here a little bit with the file first, and then we can go and sand it a little bit more. Being pretty nasty. Speedbaka, how late are you? Not that late. I mean, well, I guess we're almost 2 hours into it, and I am probably going to wrap up the stream here pretty soon. I didn't want this to necessarily go that long, but as I said at the start of the stream, for those of you guys who may have been here from the start, you may recall I said at the start of the stream I was actually not sure going into this exactly what I was going to be doing as far as what I was going to be doing in the stream and what I would have to do later if I wanted to just try to do like as much of the basic build as possible. But what I'm opting to do is a lot of just mostly seam line removal, kind of prepping for the basic assembly of the kit essentially on these parts. So yeah. It's an interesting kit for sure. Oh, grab that little piece there. I think the really old SD kits are a great way to start learning all the modeling skills even for retro kits. Yeah, either that or get your hands on a Machine Krieger kit. Try one of those, because that's where I've learned a lot about having to use more like just basic modeling skills. If you don't have a background in more traditional modeling like airplanes or armor, tanks, those are kind of the most similar. I feel like model ship building is probably the most distant relative when it comes to types of modeling which is similar to Gunpla. Probably the closest thing would be either armor or aircraft. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, just thinking about what mobile suits are, right? They're essentially walking humanoid tanks that can fly in some cases. So it makes sense that they'd be close to those. Yeah, this is just like the hip connection piece. Just want to clean up. There's nothing I can really do with this for the moment. Just want to kind of clean up a little bit. In the middle of building a Stormbringer PF. Looks like a cool kit. Don't think that I ordered one of those for myself. Are the polycaps the same material? So the polycaps are like they're like typical polycap material. They're not like, I mean, some black here, but it's the same kind of typical polycap material there. They're not in like regular, like same material as the rest of the parts, like regular kind of hard polystyrene plastic. No. This is also a part that is, I think, I'm not sure how visible this particular part's going to be when it's transformed. Is it the MG Psycho Gundam? This? No. Not the MG Psycho Gundam. That's for sure. If we were ever to get an MG Psycho Gundam, that'd be pretty wild. It'd be absolutely gigantic. How big would that be when you ever crunched the numbers on that? I guess MG is easy to crunch the numbers on because it's just 1/100 scale. If it would be of the same scale, now I guess it's theoretically possible Bandai could make like an MG Psycho Gundam and it's just not in 1/100 scale. There's not like a law that says that Bandai can't make an MG in a different scale. But I think if they were to make like something like an MG with like a larger mobile armor kind of mobile suit in a different scale, they would probably just call it something different. They wouldn't call it MG then at that point. They'd come up with a new like label for it. So I was planning to move on to build one of the legs next, but I think I actually want to put the head together here real quick. It's only 3 pieces for the head, one for the front half, one for the back half, and then one for the V-fin. And again, I don't think that we actually need the head for the transformation at all, right? I think for it transformed, you're actually just supposed to take off the head and fold the part around like from the backpack. Yeah, the head ends up just getting omitted entirely. Taller than a mega size. I mean, it would be huge. I just don't know what's the height of the Psycho Gundam. I think it's like 28 meters or something like that. 32 meters. I don't know if it's necessarily that big. Something. So, I mean, just convert that to centimeters. So it'd be probably similar in size to a perfect grade, I guess. Like the perfect grade unicorn, sort of, I guess. 40 meters? Is it? Okay, so yeah, that would be pretty big then. So it'd be 40 centimeters at 1/100 scale. So yeah, that would be large. Very, very large. I think that would be larger than Mega Size Gundam, because I think the Mega Size Gundam's like 37 centimeters, I think, something like that. So it would end up being even bigger than that. It would be big. What? Some of you guys need to work on your math a little bit there. It looks like. But yeah, it would be big. I don't think that we're going to get a 1/100 scale size model kit. Now, that's not to say that some bootleg company is not going to make, like, especially once the high grade is out. I don't know. It's very possible that we could see like some bootleg company basically take the HG and scale everything up to like an MG. It's like a 1/100 scale model kit. Could happen, and would be pretty cool. I still don't know if I would end up getting it, just out of principle not to support a bootleg, like a straight bootleg product like that. But it'd be tempting, just like for the spectacle of a kit that large. Didn't some company recently make like an upscale version of the mega size Gundam that was like 1/35 scale or something like that? Mega size unicorn would be a good size comparison. Yeah, even the mega size unicorn, I think it's not is it 40 centimeters? I don't even think it's that tall, but I could be wrong. They made an MG. Yes, yeah, that'd be crazy. Yes, that would be crazy. That would be, I don't know, because even the HG is already around a meter almost or something, isn't it? I'm just taking my time here with this V-fin part. It's very small. Just trying to clean it up a little bit here. Why Neo Zeong has to be that big in universe, I don't understand. Yeah, it does seem a little bit overkill that, you know, I mean, just think about like the production, the actual manufacturing of something that large. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And kind of like me taking this much time on this head that I'm ultimately not going to use for the actual project that I have in mind for this, considering that it's going to be in mobile armor mode, which omits the head. But I don't know, hey, we want it to look nice, right? Okay, there is a polycap here, which is polycap B. Is that one? All of our polycaps are either A or B, so it's pretty straightforward. There's only two types. Transform it. I will transform it, but not during this live stream. It's going to be later on. We'll transform this. Head. Yeah, again, I need to glue it just for it to stay together. I really don't need to worry too much about removing the seam line in a very pretty way because I'm not going to use this part. But just to be thorough, we will go through the process. So like I said, I do want to show it to you guys. Video. All right, so that's just like that, and then the V-fin actually, you just have to just glue it on there. There's not any actual like peg or any sort of like anything that actually holds the V-fin into place at all. It's just a flat surface, and you just glue it on, which I'm not going to do right now. Just because it's going to be in the way to remove that seam line, which again, I don't really even need to remove the seam line either, but it's glued and I'll make it look nice for the review and then probably just pop it in the trash because I'm not going to ultimately use the head. We'll make it look nice. There's that. All right. Not gonna obviously finish everything for this build in this live stream, but I do want to at least build one of the legs, just so we've kind of covered one of the arms, one of the legs, and you can kind of get the idea of that process mirrored for the opposite side as well. What's going on with the chat? Not much. Neo's Young is pretty much a bunch of rocket boosters, and real rockets end up at scales and sizes that don't make any sense compared to things. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things here. For the foot, we got this part that goes on the inside, which we can clean up here a little bit. Again, just a nasty mold line on this part. And poly cap, gonna need for this. Oops. All things considered, I mean, it's really kind of interesting how similar a feel building this kit is. How similar it feels to building something like a Machine Krieger kit, which is great because I had actually recently have been feeling like I wanted to build a Machine Krieger kit. It's been a little bit since I last put one together, so I wanted to do that. It's a great opportunity to do so in a sort of indirect way. With this not at all being Machine Krieger, but similar at least anyway, in terms of the way the kit all goes together. How much was this kit, Zach? So the MSRP for this kit is 600 yen, meaning that if you could get it for MSRP, it'd be around like $5 or less. So very affordable. But it hasn't been printed in a while, so I think like the cheapest I could find online, like on eBay, was shipped around like $50 or so. Fortunately, I was able to find someone. I posted that I was looking for one, and a couple people reached out, and I was able to get this one from a generous modeler who hooked me up with this at a very reasonable cost. Basically MSRP plus the shipping. So that was good. Very kind. All right. I'm gonna want to sand this part here a little bit as well. And a little bit of a mold line on this, kind of like right along this edge, which is kind of annoying. Older kits are hard to get slowly, but yeah, it really just kind of depends if the kit's had a reprint recently or not. And this kit, like I said, I don't think has been reprinted for a while. But Bandai does reprint like all these older kits from time to time. You just kind of have to be lucky. If there's one that like you're looking for and it hasn't been reprinted for a while, like if you want it for like a specific project, you may end up having to just bite the bullet and having to pay more than it's worth. But I would say, just reach out and do like what I did. Reach out if you're in like a Facebook group or something like that. Someone might have the kit and they might be willing to part with it for a much more reasonable price than what you'd have to pay getting it off like eBay or Amazon for whatever somebody's trying to charge on there, because they'll typically on those platforms they'll base price based on availability, not based on the suggested retail price, MSRP. Unfortunately, but yeah. Typically, you can find people in the community that will, somebody somewhere has got whatever kit you're looking for in their backlog and just kind of sitting there, and they might be willing to part with it. So it's a good thing to look out for. Kamaril asked, will you be painting this Mark II? Yes. So I talked about that a little bit earlier in case you guys missed it. So yeah, for right now, I was worried about just building the kit so that I can show it to you guys on video, not in this live stream, but in like a regular YouTube video. Show it like how it looks just constructed out of the box. And then I will, I am planning on doing a little bit of custom work on this, and that's going to basically be my plan is, and again, I'm not sure exactly how else is going to work, but it's just my plan at the moment. Take it transformed into the mobile armor mode and like basically glue everything so it's just one solid thing, and then just saw it directly in half so it's just like two halves, and then hollow it out on the inside to basically turn it into like a little kind of jewelry box or kind of looking thing. I don't know exactly if that's what it's going to be or not, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment, to make it into a kind of a something practical, something that you can actually use, not as like it's like a model kit, but then something that can actually be used as just an item. I don't know, like a household item, something kind of like that. What paint? So it's probably just going to be, again, just because of the nature of this kit, I'm just going to hand paint it, probably just with like some SMS paint. And I don't even know if the color is going to be like the official colors, the original colors, or if I'm going to end up doing some different colors for it or anything. Not decided yet. So this is just the first step, and this is just something that I'm kind of like just starting off, that I'll not be focusing on, because what I really want to do is finish my old Zako cannon first, and that's what I'm going to be working on actually this afternoon, working some more on that. I want to finish that project first, and this is something just kind of like a little side project that I'm hopefully going to be able to finish just later on. Anyway. What do I do if I am barely in a painting mood and now I have like 5 build kits that need paint? Hey, I'm right there with you. I think I probably have around, maybe it's not that many, but I probably have around 5 or so kits that are also completely ready to be painted, and then I have probably another 15 projects that are in some other kind of work in progress state, not necessarily ready to be painted yet, but getting there. And yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. Hang in there. Let's see, because with this part again, like we had earlier, another part that because of the polycap, I think I might try to trim down the polycap a little bit, just so we can get a good fit on this. which I don't think is going to be really all that necessary, but I can see. It's not that the polycap is too thick, but it didn't really fit in perfectly. I can go ahead and just slice a thin layer of this polycap off just to make sure that it's not going to be at all in the way of getting a good connection for our seam removal here for this part. Actually, this seems like probably would be a good candidate for clamping this part closed as well. All right, that's probably good enough. Oh, let's see. All right. Actually, speaking of the Gundam Netflix show, actually the Gundam movies, like the movie versions of the original anime, I noticed are actually playing in theaters now, but only like very limited showings, and they're just doing like one at a time. And this week, there's a couple of showings, I guess, of the second movies. I unfortunately missed the first one. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to go see any of them in the theater, but kind of a cool opportunity to do so. Beetlehorn said I went and saw the first one in theaters. It was fun. Yeah. So if you guys would like to, it's something that's going on, just to kind of heads up to you guys. It'd be a good chance to go and check those out at the theater. And I believe it's playing with like the original Japanese and subtitles, right? It's not the dubbed version, but it's the original subbed version, right? So unfortunately, I can't really do much else of this leg for right now, because it's like a couple of other parts here basically all need to be kind of sandwiched on top of each other. And until I can remove the seam line on the first part, I can't put together the next couple of parts of the leg here. So it's like the knee joint here, which is glued first. And then this needs to be able to plug in here for like the thigh. And then the lower leg plugs on here as well. Like that. But yeah, I can't glue those parts on until I can remove the seam on this knee part here first. So I think that's a good enough point as any to go ahead and wrap up then for right now for this stream, just because there's not really too much else I can do other than just building these couple of parts for the other arm, the other leg, which we didn't get to for right now. But obviously a project that I'm gonna be working on for a little while more. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. Sorry to trick you guys if you were tricked coming thinking that it was going to be the new HGC that I'm going to be building. Not yet, but I'm looking forward to that, as I'm sure many of you guys are as well. But this will be a fun Psycho Gundam Mark II project to work on in the meantime while we're waiting for that one. And yeah, it shouldn't be like too much work. It's going to take me, maybe a couple hours more work once everything's all glued. It'll be, a couple hours more work of just kind of cleaning everything up and sanding and maybe a little bit more puttying if necessary. Probably not too much though, just by the looks of things. Just a little bit more rescribing of some of the panel lines and things like that, but that's pretty much it. So not necessarily a ton of work, but it's a little bit on there. So something fun, little side project to work on, and I think it'll be interesting, like I said, based on what I have planned for this, assuming that my plan works out according to plan. But that's it for today, guys. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm gonna be working on another older kit, not quite as old, but another older, interesting mecha model. I'll let you guys know what that's gonna be tomorrow. Yeah, I do have it here, yeah. So look out for that. That's it. That's the stream. Yes, that's the stream for today. Just working on that. I said at the start of the stream, I didn't know exactly how much we were going to necessarily be able to get done on the kit, but we made some good progress, and hopefully it's interesting for you guys to see like some of the building process for these older kits. A lot of you, if you participated in the old build contest recently, a lot of you have maybe experienced this process for yourself not too long ago. That's gonna be it. Thank you guys for coming, hanging out. Yeah, understood. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.